Hello, welcome to class. What class? 628. 628, and we'll start with learn to speak up. Focused. Simple past and past continuous. ¿A dónde ibas cuando oíste la noticia? Where were you going when you heard the news? All right. Cuando me di cuenta del error, él ya se iba. When I realized the mistake, ya se iba, ya se marchaba. He was already leaving. When I realized, I made a mistake. Johnny, too late. When I realized, cuando me di cuenta de, when I realized the mistake, he was already leaving. Goodbye, see you tomorrow. He was already leaving and it was too late to make up for the mistake. Compensar el error. To make up for the mistake. It was too late. A medida que se acercaba el avión, me di cuenta que no podía bajar las ruedas. Yeah. As the plane, a medida que, as the plane, as, dos letritas, as, conforme se acercaba, a medida que se acercaba, según se acercaba. As, in English, as. As the plane approached, or as the plane was approaching. Los dos. As the plane was approaching, I realized, me di cuenta, de que no podía bajar las ruedas. I realized it couldn't, or I realized that it couldn't lower the wheels. It couldn't lower the wheels. Yes. As the plane was approaching, hacer el approach, se dice aproximación. As the plane was approaching, I realized that it couldn't lower the wheels. To lower, to raise, to lower, to raise and to lower. El viento soplaba cuando salí de casa. The wind was blowing when I left home. The wind was blowing when I left home. And I listened. And I heard the answer. Do you know the song? The answer, my friend, is blowing in the wind. The answer is blowing in the wind. That's Bob Dylan. How many times must a man look up before he sees the sky? The answer, my friend, is blowing in the wind. The answer is blowing in the wind. Okay, el viento soplaba cuando salí de casa. The wind was blowing when I left home, so I stopped and listened, and I heard the answer. Yes, sir. La gente que me entiende a medias pensará que estoy loco. Pero este hombre de qué está hablando? You know, they said, don't worry. If you only understand 50% of everything I say, continue watching, because in the program 700, you'll understand 60% and slowly improve your ear. Because if you read what I'm saying, it's easy to understand. You understand 95% if you can read what I'm saying. But to discriminate sounds is more difficult. El viento soplaba cuando yo salí de casa. The wind was blowing when I left home. All right. Yo estaba reparando el televisor cuando me lo contaron. I was repairing the television set. Ya no se dice television set. I was repairing the TV. I was repairing the TV when they told me about it, cuando me lo contaron. When they told me about it. Cuéntamelo. Tell me it. Tell me it. No se dice, ¿eh? Cuéntamelo. Sería tell me. Que es dímelo. Dímelo. Dímelo es tell me. Si lo sabes, si tienes información, dímela. So if you have the information, tell me. Si sabes qué pasó, dímelo. If you know what happened, tell me. Ahora bien, cuéntamelo todo. Cuéntamelo is tell me about it. O sea, cuéntame sobre ello. Tell me about it. Tell me about it. Also in English, tell me about it. Uy, vaya faena que te he hecho. Cuéntamelo. Eso es una reacción. Ya, hombre, no me lo cuentes a mí. Me ha pasado a mí. Tell me about it. Tell me about it. Pero aquí dice, estaba reparando el televisor cuando me lo contaron. I was repairing or fixing, pero mejor repair aquí. I was repairing the TV when they told me about it. Yeah, what did they tell you? They told me that the Queen of England had died. Oh, so you learned about the Queen of England while you were repairing a television. Correct. Yeah. How old was she when she died? I think she was 96. 96 tenía. Yeah, she was 96. The Queen Elizabeth II of England and Wales. Queen Elizabeth I of Scotland. She wasn't Queen Elizabeth II of Scotland or Northern Ireland. She was Queen Elizabeth I. Because the original Queen Elizabeth, 450 years ago, was Queen Elizabeth I, but only of England and Wales. Scotland was independent from England at that time. So she's Queen Elizabeth II, yes, with an asterisk, con asterisco, with an asterisk. Ok, estaba reparando Esther. En aquel entonces, él trabajaba en un bar. At that time, he was working in a bar. Really, yeah. At that time, he was working in a bar. Yes. At that time, he was working in a bar. It's interesting how people's lives, the founder of Telepizza, Mr. Pujals, the founder of Telepizza, before that, he was living in Florida, and he was a drill sergeant. Drill sergeant. Now, drill sergeant es un sargento de entrenamiento básico, etc. And that's what he was before he came to Spain. So, en aquel entonces, él trabajaba en un bar. At that time, también se dice mucho back then, atrás entonces, literalmente, back then. He worked, or he was working in a bar. Justo cuando empezábamos a acostumbrarnos a las cosas, nos trasladaron a otro país. Just when we were learning, just when we were starting to get used to things, they transferred us to another country, no? Yes, they transferred us to another country. Just justo cuando empezamos a acostumbrarnos a las cosas aquí, just when we were starting to get used to things, they transferred us to another country. Yeah. That's very typical in the United States. There's a lot of mobility. People usually don't live their entire life in the same city where they were born and brought up. And many young people, children and adolescents also move because their father or mother has moved. So there's a lot of mobility. About 20 classes ago, I told you about a man. I moved about 3 years ago to my current house. Where I live now, I've been living there for almost 3.5 years. All right. And I remember the first time I coincided with a man in the elevator who lived in the house. And I asked him, he's about 60 years old. And I asked him, how long have you been living in this building? He said, all my life, since I was born in this building. Wow. And he still lives there. He's 60 years old. And I said to him, I've lived in 34 different houses. It's true. Hice un recuento el otro día otra vez. To be sure, eran 35. I made a mistake somewhere. 34. I've lived in 34. So I'm used to mobility. It doesn't matter to me. It doesn't matter. To live here and there, it doesn't matter where I live. Yeah. The only thing I need is a guitar and a piano, a kitchen, a bed, and books. And that's it. And a chair. I need a chair just to read the book. All right, etc. That's enough. All right. I don't care if it's in Madrid, Barcelona, Rome, Stockholm, California, or Tokyo, or Topeka, Kansas. Where? Topeka, Kansas. Topeka. Se escribe Topeka con K. I've never heard of it. Where's Topeka? It's in Kansas. What is it, a small town? It's the capital. Capital de Kansas. It's Topeka. Wow. What's the population? I don't know. Maybe 150,000 people. But it's the capital. You see, in the United States, normally the capital is located in a less important city. I've spoken about that many times. Okay, just when we were starting to get used to things, justo cuando empezamos a acostumbrarnos a las cosas, just when we were starting to get used to, acostumbrarse is to get used to things, they transferred us to another country, Moldova. Te trasladamos a Moldavia. Oh, good luck in Moldova. All right. Yo creía que ibas a venir en tren. I thought you were coming by train. Huh? Hello, I thought you were coming by train. I was planning to go to the train station right now. Ah, you're flying. Well, I need to go to the airport. I thought you were coming, or I thought you were going to come. Yo creía que venías en tren. Creí que ibas a venir en tren. Both are correct, lo mismo. En inglés también. I thought you were coming by train. Creí que venías en tren. Oh, I thought you were going to come by train. Creí que ibas a venir en tren. All right, by train, por tren en inglés. Cuando llegamos, la gente estaba desayunando. When we arrived, the people were having breakfast. Yes, when we arrived, the people were having breakfast. What time was it? It was 8 o'clock in the morning. Oh, okay, yeah, the people, what were they having for breakfast? I don't know. Well, we arrived at the hotel, and the group of people were having breakfast. And it was an incredible breakfast buffet, a beautiful breakfast buffet. I was tempted to join them and start enjoying the breakfast buffet, but they're the customers, and so I didn't. But I was tempted. Estaba tentado. I felt the temptation. The breakfast buffet, yes. Cuando llegamos, estaban desayunando. O la gente estaba desayunando. When we got there, or when we arrived, the people were having breakfast. Íbamos perdiendo cuando empezó la tormenta. We were losing when the storm started. We were losing when the storm broke out. Aquí se dice broke out también. To break out. Yes. To break out, or when start. But I remember in 2008, in Wimbledon, the final in Wimbledon between Rafa Nadal and Federer, Federer was losing when it started raining. He was losing 2-0 when it started raining. And they stopped for 20 minutes or 30 minutes. Then they started again, and Federer won 2 sets. And then it was tied 2-2. And in the fifth and final set, it was tied 2-2. And it started raining again. And then they came back, and Nadal won. Nadal finally won. That was his first Wimbledon. All right, íbamos perdiendo cuando empezó la tormenta. We were losing when the storm broke out, or we were losing when the storm started. Estaba marcando tu número cuando entraste. Felipa. Ah, okay. I was dialing your number when you came in. I was dialing your number. Yes. When you came in. ¿Dónde estoy? When you walked in. Okay, cuando entraste, andando, claro. Solemos ir al verbo de locomoción. Entrar, caminando, is to walk into the room. Salir caminando is to walk out of the room. To go out of the room, to leave the room, to walk out of the room. Si sales a nado, you swim out of the room. Si sales corriendo, you run out of the room. You run into the room, you run out of the room. Si sales bailando el vals, you waltz out of the room, etc. So we go to you say, entró corriendo, entró a nado, entró andando, entró bailando el vals. We say, he waltzed in, swam in, ran in, came in, walked in, etc. He backed in, entró marcha atrás. He backed into the room. Por ejemplo, el coche entró en el pequeño garaje, dando marcha atrás. The car backed into the garage. O entró, se dice entró de culo en la espacio de parking. He backed into the parking place. To back into. Yes. Ese coche me dio contra mi coche, dando marcha atrás. That car backed into my car. Yeah. Backed into my car. Okay, so, lo vi cuando, no, estaba marcando tu número cuando entraste. I was dialing your number. Ya, la gente ya no hace eso. People don't dial numbers anymore. They just push the button for their friends. We're Marta, boom. And I talk to Marta. But I was dialing your number when you walked in. Hablando del rey de Roma, por la puerta sombra. Speak of the devil. Sí, hablando del diablo. We say, speak of the devil. Or speaking, los dos valen. Speaking of the devil. I say speaking of the devil. Speaking of the devil. Luego nos seguimos por la puerta de sombra. Yes. All right. Speak of the devil. All right. Lo vi cuando, lo vi. Es un objeto. Lo vi cuando hacía mis compras de Navidad. I saw it. When did you see it? When did you see it? When did I see it? I saw it when I was doing my Christmas shopping. I hate Christmas shopping. I saw it when I was doing my Christmas shopping. To go shopping is ir de compras. To do the shopping is hacer las compras. To do the shopping. So I was doing my Christmas shopping when I saw it. What did you see? I saw Godzilla. Oh, wow, you saw Godzilla. Yeah, I saw it. Was Godzilla male or female? I don't know. That's why I call it it. It was coming down the street. I saw it when I was doing my Christmas shopping. Él murió cuando descendía de la cima. Pobre. He died when he was coming down from the top, or from the summit. Summit es la cumbre, más que la cima. Yo diría el top, el tope. He died when he was coming down from the top. He died when he was coming down from the summit. Many mountain climbers suffer death or injury coming down, probably more than going up. It's more dangerous to come down than to go up. If you fall coming down, you roll. If you fall going up, no problem. It's more dangerous to come down from the top. So he died when he was coming down from the summit, from the top of the mountain. El lenguaje llano normal, the top of the mountain. Summit, escrito sumit, doble M. Se usa más en plan figurado. Una reunión cumbre. A summit meeting. Summit. It's used more figuratively, but it's perfect here as well. Preparé esta lista cuando estaba viajando por Florida. Oh, okay. I prepared this list when I was traveling around Florida. Yeah. Or traveling in Florida. Aquí dice in Florida, por Florida. Yo diría around. You know, somebody checked this book and modified some things here. I did this list, or I prepared this list when I was traveling in Florida, when I was traveling around Florida, which is not true. The last time I was in Florida was in 2015. I flew to Miami, and I rented a car in Miami, and I drove straight north to Palm Beach. I stayed in Palm Beach for 6 nights. And then I crossed the Florida Peninsula to the other side, to the Gulf of Mexico. And I spent 7 days in Bonita Springs. Manantiales bonitos. Okay. But it's bonita. Femenino, springs. Springs son manantiales. Bonita Springs. And then I drove through the swamps, through the Everglades to Miami, and I stayed for 2 weeks in Miami. Well, 10 days in Miami. So I spent the entire month in Florida. but that was in 2015. That was a long time ago. I remember perfectly. It was interesting because in that month, in August 2015, was the month in which Donald Trump announced his intention to run for president. And it was on television everywhere. That's why I remember so well. All right. So, él llegó justo cuando yo me iba. He arrived just when I was leaving. He arrived just when I was leaving. Manolo, sorry, I have to go. He arrived just when I was leaving, cuando yo me iba, just when I was leaving. Su coche se averió cuando él entraba en la recta final. Pobre. His car broke down when he was coming into the home straight. Me han cambiado el inglés aquí. The home straight. Será un británico, eh? I don't know who did it. Somebody's been touching my book, doing things with my book. Yes, the home straight. We don't say, in America, we don't say the home straight. Of course, you go around. Yeah, you go around. You start here, and you go around like this. Okay, good. Digamos que eso es una curva, como en una pista de atletismo. You go around the first curve, and this is called the back stretch. Stretch como estirar, stretch. The back stretch. A lo mejor los británicos say the back straight. Maybe the British say the back straight. Then the second curve this is the home stretch. El tramo casero, se llegas a casa. The home stretch. And here it says the home straight. I've never heard it. It must be British. No lo oigo nunca. Debe de ser inglés británico. I've never heard it. It must be British English. But pobrecito, his car broke down when he was coming into the home stretch, or the home straight, entering the home stretch, coming around, and the last part, kaput. And he lost. He was winning, but he lost because his car broke down. Race car. Fernando Alonso, for example, in the home stretch, it stops. 300 meters from the finish line. 300 meters from the finish line. And so Hamilton passes and others. All right. Verstappen and others. Me estaba recuperando de la gripe cuando se pusieron en contacto conmigo. All right. I was getting over the flu when they contacted me. I was getting over the flu, la gripe, the flu. Viene la palabra influenza, flu, the flu. I was recovering from the flu when they contacted me, or when they made contact with me, or when they got in touch with me, or when they got in contact with me, pero mejor when they contacted me. I was getting over the flu. I was recovering from, ambos valen, the flu when they contacted me. Richard, when was the last time you had the flu? The flu? I don't remember. 20 years ago? I really don't remember. Una gripe. No un resfriado. Not a cold. But the flu, I don't remember. A long, long time ago. And when was the last time you had a cold? I don't remember. It's been a long time. 5 years, 7 years. Now I had a slight case of the COVID, which is similar to the flu, a bit, but only slight. It was interesting. The first day I had a positive on COVID, I walked for 8 kilometers in Retiro Park with the COVID. So it didn't affect me very much. But the last time I had the flu, I have no idea. So me estaba recuperando de la gripe. I was getting over, or recovering from the flu when they contacted me. Cuando llamaron, él estaba en mitad de una reunión. When they called, he was in the middle of a meeting. When they called, he was in the middle of a meeting. Did they call him out of the meeting? No, no. The meeting was very important. No le sacaron la reunión para la llamada. They didn't call him out of the meeting to take the call. Hay mucho call aquí, eh? A telephone call arrived. The secretary, the man's secretary, took the call. May I help you? Ah, Mr. President, the president of Spain, the president of the government, Mr. Sanchez. Ah, yes. You want to speak to Mr. Vaughan? Ah, well, he's in a meeting right now. And Mr. Sanchez, well, can you call him out of the meeting? Well, excuse me, I'll be right back. And he goes, excuse me, Richard, but the president of the government is on the line. Tell him I'll call him later. Okay. He goes back. Well, Mr. Sanchez, he can't come right now. The meeting's really important. All right. But he'll call you as soon as he can. All right. With that, I'll say goodbye for another day. Take care.